When we play games like Would You Rather, so many of the questions that get asked are related to our bodies. Would you rather have skin that changes color based on your emotions, or tattoos appear all over your body depicting what you did yesterday? Would you rather have a third nipple or an extra toe? That's why this is such a fun yet hard game to play. How could we intentionally choose to dispose of any function or part of our bodies if they're so integral to our lived experience? However, there is one question that never comes up, and it starts like this. Would you rather have no bones? If you've seen that scene in Harry Potter where Harry loses the bones in his arm, you'll know just how horrifying an image this is. Our bones are so critical to us that we barely seem human without them. And the "or" that follows, would you rather have no bones, would have to be so bad for you to even consider being a boneless human soup sack. With this in mind, today let's take the skeleton out of the closet and pay some respect to our bones by diving into bone classification and structure. The bones in our bodies come in different shapes and sizes. There are 5 primary types of bones: long, short, flat, sesamoid, and irregular. And what we're going to do now is take a look at each type. Long bones support the weight of the body and facilitate movement. Not all long bones are as long as you might think. As a matter of fact, the term describes shape and not size. For example, relatively small bones in the fingers, called metacarpals and phalanges, are also long bones. Short bones are about as long as they are wide, making them fairly cube-shaped and stumpy. Short bones help provide stability, and you would find them in the wrist, as in your carpals, or in ankle joints, like the tarsals. Now let's talk about flat bones. Contrary to the name, these bones aren't actually flat, but rather thin and occasionally curved. We find flat bones in the skull, thoracic cage, meaning the ribs and sternum, and pelvis, as in the ilium, ischium, and pubis. Flat bones almost act like plates of armor, providing further protection for our internal organs. Now, sesamoid bones are embedded in tendons and are small and round in shape and size. These bones help protect the tendons from wear and tear. Take the kneecap or patella as an example. Finally, as in every classification ever, we take all the remaining elements that don't fall into other categories and create a new one. So we have irregular bones that include bones with unusual shapes and structures, such as the vertebrae, sacrum, maxilla, and mandible. Contrary to what you may think, bones actually have a quite complex structure, so they can provide a wide range of essential functions for our body, from producing blood cells to protecting our vital organs. Studying the structure of a long bone is a great way to see all the different parts of the bone in one place. For starters, let's break the bone into 2 parts, pun unintended. The central shaft, which we call the diaphysis, and the ends of the bone, which we call the epiphysis. The shaft is composed of hard, compact bone, the cortical bone, with a central cavity, the medullary cavity, which is filled with red and yellow bone marrow. While the yellow marrow stores fat or adipose tissue to sustain the bone, the red marrow is responsible for the production of platelets, red cells, and leukocytes. There are also 2 important membranes in the long bone, a delicate membranous lining surrounding the medullary cavity, the endosteum, and this is where growth, repair, and remodeling occur. Then the periosteum, which is a fibrous membrane covering the surface of the cortical bone, containing blood vessels, lymphatic vessels, and nerves. And this is where primary ossification occurs. In other words, where new bone is produced. Now back to the 2 epiphyses at each end of the bone. The epiphyses are composed of spongy bone covered by a thin layer of compact bone. This is also where the secondary ossification occurs. Where the diaphysis and the epiphysis meet, there is a narrow area that contains the growth plate, otherwise known as the epiphyseal plate. Growth plates play a critical function as you age from a child to an adult. Typically, there are 2 growth plates in each bone and a complex mix of endocrine signals like thyroid hormones, vitamin A, estrogen, and androgen help regulate longitudinal growth. When you reach early adulthood at around age 18 to 21, the transparent cartilage in the growth plate gets replaced by hardened bone tissue. However, as plates are the last parts of your bone to harden, they are vulnerable to fracture, particularly in children. Most of the time, growth plate fractures don't cause serious problems, but they can result in crooked or shorter limbs if left untreated. Now, let's take a closer look at the difference between compact and spongy bone tissue. Around 20% of the human skeleton is made up of spongy bone. While compact bone tissue forms the outer layer of your bones, spongy tissue forms the inside. Sometimes also called cancellous or trabecular bone, spongy bone is light, porous, and honeycomb-like in appearance. And this is due to the trabeculae, which may seem like a random network, but in reality their lattice-like pattern is crucial to help transmit pressure and resist stress. As a matter of fact, spongy bone reduces the overall density of the bone, allowing it to compress when stress is applied. This is why we find more spongy tissue in areas of the body where stress can arrive from many directions. For example, the neck of the femur. The neck of the femur has to manage your body's load and the downward stress applied by gravity. Also worth mentioning is that there are small spaces between the trabeculae that are often filled with red marrow and blood vessels. The main advantage of spongy bone tissue is that it can provide structural support and flexibility while remaining lightweight. If your whole body were made of compact bones, you'd be a lot heavier and more rigid. Compact bone, sometimes also called cortical bone, makes up the other 80% of bones in your body. Compact bones are smooth and hard because they are made up of sheets of parallel collagen, called the lamellae, with no gaps in between to achieve maximum strength. A series of concentric lamellae will then form an osteon. In the center of the osteon, there is also a Haversian canal composed of blood vessels, lymphatic vessels, and nerve fibers. I know, that's a lot of new terms. Who would have thought the apparently simplistic skeleton would have such an intrinsic complexity after all? But if you love bones so much, click on the videos on the screen to learn more about them. And don't forget to hit the like button to let me know you want to see more of these videos on the channel, and subscribe so you don't miss the next upload. I will see you on the next video.